Welcome to our 2024 English Learner Progress Indicator, or LP, presentation. The presentation is brought to you from the Accountability Development and Policy Analysis Unit at the California Department of Education. My name is Irit Winston and I will be co-presenting with Justin Lane. Today's session, we will be covering a short top-level review of the dashboard and a more in-depth review of the LP. For the 2024 dashboard, the California Department of Education is releasing a series of on-demand sessions which will be short, accessible videos which can be accessed anytime and will cover each of the state indicators in more detail, plus some other accountability information. Today's agenda includes an overview of the California School Dashboard, which will be referred to as the dashboard from here on and out. Then we will cover all things LP, followed by a few frequently asked questions, some general rules about the dashboard, and finally, how to go about contacting or reaching us with your any and all of your dashboard questions. First, we will start with an overview of the dashboard. The California School Dashboard is an online tool designed to help communities across the state access important information about kindergarten through 12th grade. The dashboard reports how districts and schools are performing on multiple state and local measures that make up California's accountability system. The dashboard displays performance through 7 state measures. They are academic performance, which includes measures for both English language arts and literacy, or ELA and mathematics, English learner progress, chronic absenteeism, graduation rate, suspension rate, college career indicator, and finally, the science indicator. Please note that the college career measure is back with status and change reporting on the 2024 dashboard. But how do these measures get a color? The measure of performance for LEA school and student groups on the dashboard is done by looking at 2 years of data. Status is the current year data. Change is the comparison between the current and prior year's data. What determines the color performance on the dashboard is the combination of status and change. Performance is indicated on the dashboard by a gauge with 5 segments of different colors. Each level displays an arrow pointing to one of the 5 colors. The colors range from red, which represents the lowest performance, to orange, yellow, green, and then the blue, which represents the highest performance. For the next section, I'll pass it over to Justin. Justin, take it away.
Now we'll go through the details of the English Learner Progress Indicator. What is the English Learner Progress Indicator, or LP? The English Learner Progress Indicator, or LP, shows the percentage of current English learner students making progress at the state, district, and school level towards English language proficiency or maintaining the highest performance level on the Summative English Language Proficiency Assessments for California, or LPAC, and the Summative Alternate LPAC. What is new for the LP? Beginning on the 2024 California School Dashboard, or Dashboard, long-term English learners, or LTELs, will be added as a student group across all state indicators. Results for EL students who have not been reclassified as fluent English proficient within 7 years will be included in the LTEL student group. Therefore, LP, from now on, will report outcomes for 2 student groups, ELs and LTELs. With 3 years of results, the LP will incorporate the Summative Alternate LPAC in not only status, but change and overall performance color for the LP. Next, I will elaborate about the new student group, long-term English learners. The definition for the LTEL student group is as follows: a pupil who has not attained English language proficiency within 7 years of initial classification as an English learner. All EL students who reach their 7th year as an EL anytime during the academic year will be counted in the LTEL student group. For example, a student enrolls in a California public school in the 2017-18 academic year and is determined to be an EL student. This student is still an EL student in the 23-24 academic year, and the student would be included in the LTEL student group because the student has been an EL for 7 years. Please keep in mind, this LTEL definition only applies to the dashboard and does not apply to other reporting which uses the definition outlined in California Education Code section 313.1. The number of LTEL students, or N-size, required to receive an LP status, change, and overall performance level. Districts/county offices of education, 15 or more LTEL students with current and prior year summative or summative alternate LPAC results. Schools, 30 or more LTEL students with current and prior year summative and summative alternate LPAC results. It is important to clarify that all students on the LP baseball card are the EL students. The LTEL student group is a subset of the EL student group. So who is considered an LTEL for reporting on the dashboard? Similar to the EL student group, who is an LTEL can vary by state indicator. There are 3 distinct student populations: cumulative enrollment, academic demographics, and cohort. The definition of who is an LTEL is the same for the dashboard indicators that use cumulative enrollment and are assessment takers, which is that they become an LTEL at any point during the year. The cumulative enrollment covers the chronic absenteeism and suspension state indicators, while the assessment takers cover the academic indicator, ELA and math, the science indicator, and the English learner progress indicator. Long-term English learners are considered as an LTEL student at any time during the school year. For example, if an EL student reaches the 7th year as an EL on June 15th, the student will be considered an LTEL student for the entire academic year and will be counted as an LTEL for these state indicators. Lastly, who is considered an LTEL for reporting on the dashboard indicators that use the cohort as their population? Students will be counted as an LTEL if the student is an LTEL at any time during the cohort. The cohort population covers the graduation rate and the college/career state indicators. For example, an EL student reaches the 7th year as an EL in grade 11. Then in grade 12, the student reclassifies as fluent English proficient. This student would be counted as an LTEL student in the graduation rate and the college/career state indicators.
Next, we will describe what is progress in the LP on the Summative English Language Proficiency Assessment for California, or LPAC. The purpose of the LPAC is to measure an EL student progress in learning English and to identify the EL student's level of English language proficiency. The LP relies on the results of the summative LPAC, including the summative alternate LPAC results, to determine EL student progress. The LP derives its levels from the 4 summative LPAC levels that EL students receive after completing the assessment each spring. These 4 LPAC performance levels are divided into 6 LP levels for the dashboard. Using 6 levels for accountability is intentional because it accounts for the average time students need to make progress towards gaining English language proficiency in the LP. To show progress towards English language proficiency on the LP, EL students must increase at least one LP level from the previous year or maintain a level 4 from one year to the next. Let's demonstrate through two examples. Example 1, a student in 2023 scored a level 2 high. In 2024, the same student scored a level 3 low. This student advanced one LP level. Example 2, a student in 2023 scored a level 2 high, and in 2024, the same student scored a level 2 high. These students did not advance one LP level. The LP not only measures progress for students on the summative LPAC, but the Summative Alternate English Language Proficiency Assessment for California, or the Alternate LPAC as well. The Summative Alternate LPAC provides information on student annual progress towards English Language Proficiency, or ELP, and supports decisions for students to be reclassified as Fluent English Proficient, or RFEPs. This test is designed for students with the most significant cognitive disabilities who are English learner students whose Individualized Education Program, or IEP, team has determined that they are eligible for an alternate assessment. Beginning with the 2024 California School Dashboard, the results of the Summative Alternate LPAC will be incorporated into the English Learner Progress Indicator for not only status, but change and overall performance color. The Summative Alternate LPAC has three performance levels: Level 1, Novice; Level 2, Intermediate; Level 3, Fluent English Proficient. These levels are used to determine progress on the LP. How progress on the LP is determined for alternate LPAC. There are three paths on EL students can show English language proficiency progress on the summative alternate LPAC. An increase of at least one summative alternate LPAC level from the previous year, or maintain a level 3 from one year to the next, or have at least a 10 scale score change from the prior year. EL students who meet any of these criteria will be counted as progressing towards English language proficiency. Example: in 2023, an EL student taking the summative alternate LPAC had a scale score of 244 in kindergarten. In 2024, this EL student had a scale score of 359 in grade 1. The scale score of 244 in 2023 gets converted to 44, and the scale score for 359 in 2024 gets converted to 59. The difference was calculated between 59 and 44. A scale score change of 15 plus. Next, we will review status and change in the LP.
LP status measures the rate at which LEAs and schools are moving their EL students towards English Language Proficiency, or ELP. LP status requires 2 years of assessment results. For example, Coatell High School has an LP status rate of 67.7%. This means that 66.7% of the EL students enrolled at Coatell High during the LPAC testing window made progress towards ELP. The LP has 5 status levels. The cut scores for the status levels are as follows: very low, less than 35%; low, 35% to less than 45%; medium, 45% to less than 55%; high, 55% to less than 65%; very high, 65% or greater. The LP status rate formula is as follows. Number of EL students who made progress between 2023 and 2024, plus number of EL students who maintained the highest level from the prior year, divided by total number of EL students with prior and current year summative LPAC and summative alternate LPAC results, equals LP status. LP change measures the rate at which schools or districts are improving their ability to move their EL students towards English language proficiency. LP change requires 3 years of assessment results. For example, Eastern Parkway Elementary had a prior year LP status at 59.0%. In the current year, this school has an LP status of 62.3%. The difference between the current year status and prior year status equals LP change. In this example, the LP change is plus 3.3 percentage points for Eastern Parkway Elementary. The LP has 5 change levels. The cut scores for the change levels are as follows. Decreased significantly, declined more than 10 percentage points, decreased, declined by 2 to 10 percentage points, maintained, declined or increased by less than 2 percentage points, increased, increased by 2 to 10 percentage points, increased significantly, increased more than 10 percentage points. As 1, the LP change rate formula is as follows. Current year LP status rate minus prior year LP status rate equals LP change. The LP change rate formula is as follows. Current year LP status rate minus prior year LP status rate equals LP change. Every spring, all EL students are required to take the summative LPAC or the summative alternate LPAC. The purpose of the summative LPAC and the summative alternate LPAC is to measure an EL student's progress in learning English and to identify the EL student's level of English language proficiency. To ensure districts and schools are testing all of their current EL students, the California Department of Education, or CDE, requires that they meet or exceed a participation rate of 95% on the summative LPAC and the summative alternate LPAC. Districts and schools that do not meet the 95% participation rate on the summative LPAC or the summative alternate LPAC and have at least 30 EL students enrolled during the testing window, February 1st to May 31st, will receive a modified LP rate on the dashboard. For each district and school that does not meet the 95% target, the minimum number of students needed to reach equal to or greater than 95% participation rate is determined. The resulting number of students will be counted as not making progress on the current LP status calculation. The resulting number of the LP will be reported on the 24 dashboard. EL students who are counted as participating in the summative LPAC are EL students who log on to at least one domain in each composite are counted as participating in the summative LPAC. The oral language composite includes listening and speaking. The written language composite includes reading and writing. Similarly, for the summative alternate LPAC, EL students must be administered at minimum one receptive item, which include listening and speaking, and one expressive item, which include reading and writing, from anywhere within the assessment. Please note that a mark as no response is also considered a valid response and therefore counts as a completed item. The LPAC participation rate formula is as follows. Number of EL students were tested on the 24 summative LPAC and the summative alternate LPAC divided by total number of EL students enrolled during the testing window equals LPAC participation rate. Now I will provide details on how performance colors are determined using a 5x5 table. LEA school or student groups, EL and the LTEL student groups, performance level or color, red, orange, yellow, green, and blue, is determined through the use of a 5x5 table that utilizes the status and change levels. The LP 5x5 uses the intersection of status and change to determine the final performance level or color. The 5x5 table shows performance level with the top row representing the change from the prior year. The possible change levels are declined significantly, declined, maintained, increased, and increased significantly. The first column represents status level in the current year. Status levels include very high, high, medium, low, and very low. The intersection of change in status will give the performance level or color. For example, McDosh Junior High School has an LP status level of high and a change level of increased. The intersection of the high LP status level and the increased change level is the performance color green.
Let's cover a few frequently asked questions. What grades are included in the LP? Students who take the summative or summative alternate LPAC in grades 1st through 12th grade are included in the LP. Are reclassified fluent English proficient or RFEP students included in the LP? No. Students who are reclassified anytime before May 31st are not included in the LP because they are no longer current EL students and do not take the summative LPAC. Who is counted as participating in the summative LPAC and the summative alt LPAC? For the summative LPAC, EL students who log on to at least one domain, listening, speaking, reading, or writing in each composite are counted as participating in the summative LPAC. For the summative alt LPAC, EL students must be administered at minimum one receptive item and one expressive item from anywhere within the assessment. Please note that a mark as no response is only considered a valid response and therefore counts as participating. Do RFEP students count in the participation rate? Sometimes, if an EL student took the 2024 summative LPAC and was reclassified before the end of the school year based in part on the student's summative LPAC results, then these students would be included in the LP. However, if the EL student reclassified before May 31st and did not take the 2024 summative LPAC, this reclassified student would not be included in the LP. Are long-term English learner students included in the LP? Yes. In the past, the LP had only one student group, the EL student group. However, beginning with the 2024 dashboard, California has added its 14th student group, the LTEL student group. As a result, the LTEL student group will receive an LP status, change, and overall performance level if the LTEL student group meets the minimum and size. What is the definition of an LTEL student? A pupil who has not attained English language proficiency within 7 years of initial classification as an English learner. What is the minimum N size required for LTEL student group? For districts, the county offices of education, the minimum N size is 15 or more LTEL students with current and prior year summative LPAC or summative alternate LPAC results. For schools, the minimum N size is 30 or more LTEL students with current and prior year summative LPAC or summative alternate LPAC results. Will the summative LPAC participation rate be reported for the LTEL student group? Yes, for those districts, COEs, or schools that meet the minimum N size. For districts, the summative LPAC participation rate will be reported when there are 15 or more LTEL students enrolled during the testing window, February 1st to May 31st. For schools, the summative LPAC participation rate will be reported when there are 30 or more LTEL students enrolled during the test window, February 1st through May 31st. This is the end of our LP-specific information. If you need additional help, we've provided a few different resources with links in the note-taking guide. First, we have the LP webpage. It will take you from A to Z with everything you need to know about the LP and has lots of links to flyers, cut scores, or anything else you might need. On that page, you'll find a link to the 2024 Technical Guide, where we also have an LP mini guide available. Once the dashboard has been released and the School Dashboard Additional Reports web pages has been updated, districts and schools can find LP data that is more specific than the data found on the dashboard. We are going now to finish up our presentation with some general review of the dashboard rules. Let's now walk you through some general rules about the dashboard.
First up, the District of Special Education Accountability, or DSEA. The DSEA rule is applied to all available state indicators for students with disabilities who receive special education services at another district or county office of education. These students will be sent back to the District of Residence, or DSEA, and included in the DSEA's dashboard. For example, the district where the student geographically resides is held accountable for the student's graduation outcomes, and the data is included in the Districts of Residence graduation rate indicator. Please note that this rule only applies to LEAs. All schools, including charter schools, are held accountable for all of their students with disabilities. This rule has been applied since 2017 for the academic performance measures and the 2020 reporting of the graduation rate and the college/career data on the dashboard additional web page. It was applied for all indicators beginning with the 2022 dashboard and will continue for dashboards moving forward. For more information, refer to the Changes to the District of Residence rule for students with disabilities flyer on the Dashboard's Communication Toolkit web page. Next, we want to clarify a rule about charter schools that is unique to the dashboard. Since charter schools are treated as local education agencies, or LEAs, under the Local Control Funding Formula, or LCFF, their data are not included in the authoriser's dashboard report. This includes both direct and locally funded charters. Finally, we want to go through what the accountability insights thresholds are and how they'll be displayed on the 2024 dashboard. We'll use the LP baseball card on this slide as an example. If the N size is 30 or more students in the denominator, then the LP rate is reported on the dashboard along with the status and change. In the first sample card, the LP displays the blue performance level or color, with the gauge pointing to the blue color and the blue along the top border. The card shows an LP status rate of 66.7% and an increase of 11.1% from the prior year. The number of students, or N size, is 30. You can find the N size when you click the View More Details arrow at the bottom of the card. Additionally, any LEA or school with 30 or more students in the denominator is held accountable for the differentiated assistance at the LEA level and targeted support and improvement, TSI, at the school level. When the in size is between 11 to 29 students in the denominator, then only the LP status rate and change from the prior year is reported on the dashboard. In the second sample card, the LP displays no performance color with a grayed out gauge and an LP status rate of 72.2%. It also reports an increase of 43.7 percentage points from the prior year. The number of students, or in size, is 18. As mentioned before, you can find the in size when you click the View More Details at the bottom of the card. Additionally, any LEA or school with 11 to 29 students in the denominator is not held accountable for differentiated assistance at the LEA level and TSI at the school level. When the in size is less than 11 students in the denominator, then no data is reported on the dashboard to protect students' privacy. In the third sample card, the LP displays no performance level with a grayed out gauge and no LP status or change rate. The number of students, or in size, is 4. Additionally, any LEA or school with less than 11 students in the denominator is not held accountable for differentiated assistance at the LEA level and TSI at the school level.
If those extra resources do not answer your remaining questions, as always, we are just an email away. As a reminder, our email is dashboard@cde.ca.gov. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter @CDE Dashboard. Thank you for watching this on-demand video about the LP. Again, please contact us if you have additional questions. Thank you.